So a lot of people are complaining about Modern Warfare's maps, and I can get that. It's an adjustment, it's a learning experience, and some people aren't willing to learn, and for those people, I don't have a lot of respect for you, but for the people that are trying to learn and are getting frustrated, I hear you. Some of the maps have kind of irritated me a bit as well. This one and this one, I feel like play kind of crappy in a lot of ways. I might do more in-depth reasonings as to why, but the thing I've been able to pinpoint is that the maps aren't as big of a problem in their core design as the spawns are. Now, spawns dictate the flow of a game. They just do. And yeah, a game might feel campy because the spawns are acting in a way that people have to kind of camp because of it. And what I mean by that is that if spawns are too sticky, you're going to fight a bunch of stationary people that are getting behind cover, using head glitches, mounting weapons in windows, and then you kill them in that area, and if they spawn near where they died, they're just gonna come right back there. That makes the game feel campier than it is or needs to be. So, in Call of Duty, there's a fine line between being too flippy and too sticky with your spawns. If too sticky, people get spawn trapped, the game becomes stagnant, and you're only playing one side of the map for most of the game. It's boring for the winners and frustrating for the losers. If they're too flippy, you're constantly getting shot in the back and punished for being aggressive. And that is also not good, obviously. So how do we combat this? So I'm not a developer. I don't know how they're going to make it so it's the perfect balance between sticky and flippy. But if the game wanted to make the spawns easier to flip, I would be okay with that, as long as they implement a feature that lets you know when the spawns have flipped for your enemy. Modern Warfare seems very linear with spawns. It feels like there's one end of the map that enemies will keep spawning in and you can just keep killing them. I don't think it'd be hard if the spawn area changed to being behind you for the game to say, enemy spawn rotation changed, or something along those lines. This would keep the game moving smoothly, and the reason I say all of this is because during this match that I'm showing right here, my team was getting pinned in the back of the spawn that I was in for a while. I ended up getting a long flank all the way to the other side of the map thinking it would flip the spawns, and nope, my teammates never spawned on me. Well, I thought, okay, maybe enemies will spawn over here because the spawns are so sticky and I can get some easy kills on them. Nope, wrong again. The enemies were spawning mid. They're spawning on the middle portion of the map, while I'm on the other end by myself and my teammates are spawning into gunfire, essentially. This happened on this map, and it also happens on this map. The spawns on this map are terrible, and it's really hard to get them to flip. Now, I've had times where I've had to get creative and use smoke grenades and shit like that and try to sneak around, and sometimes it works, and sometimes it doesn't. I will say, however, that if the game was to let you know that your enemies were going to be spawning behind you now, it would keep the game moving. It would keep the game at a steadier pace instead of just pushing someone into their spawn until they either rage quit or eventually get a different spawn if by the grace of God. And this creates a system where, again, the game feels more stagnant than it is. Now, even if it didn't notify you, you should be able to read the spawns and notice that, enemies aren't spawning in front of you anymore, and that they're probably going to be spawning behind you or at a different spawn location. And yeah, prediction's going to happen, and a good team is still going to kick your ass no matter where you spawn, but it keeps the game moving. It gives you a breath of fresh air. It gives you a different place to attack from. It gives you different scenery at the very least, and it makes the enemies that are kicking your ass have to reposition. I hate playing Modern Warfare Remastered because pushing up in any capacity immediately flips the spawns, and it's frustrating. You get like 3 kills in one area, and then they're all behind you because the game's like, nope, shouldn't be over there, there's an enemy there. And it makes map control feel damn near impossible to obtain, especially when playing with randoms that you can't communicate with. But the one thing I will say is it keeps the maps moving, and even though Modern Warfare Remastered is not a super fast-paced Call of Duty, and in fact I think has a lot of things that make it play slower than something like the new Modern Warfare, the thing is that it keeps the match moving around the map instead of being forced into one corner of it. All of this is to say the spawns are too sticky, and there needs to be an adjustment to that ASAP, because I feel like the game will play a lot better when people are keeping their head on a swivel instead of just keeping their eyes fixated on the very, very obvious, easy to predict enemy spawn. Now, some of the map layouts in this game I do think need work. I actually do think some pieces of cover need to be moved around, and I'll talk about that in a later video. I want to get some more playtime before I talk about that, because those are a little bit more serious accusations. The one thing that you could just notice by playing one match is the spawns refuse to fucking flip. So wherever that magic threshold slider is that dictates where you're about to spawn, where you're gonna flip, to and where you're going to be. I hope they just adjust that a little bit and find a little bit of a better middle ground. A lot of these maps kind of feel like elaborate hallways where you're only going to spawn on one end or the other because it's too rectangular to spawn you anywhere else. And if you want to have an elaborate hallway as a style of map, that's fine. We've seen it for years, but I think that I want to play the whole hallway, not just, my end of it. And if I'm losing, be stuck in my end of it. Let me know how you feel about this subject when it comes to spawns and map design. I'm withholding some of my opinions because I feel like they're going to take a while to mature, because I don't think anybody's playing the maps correctly yet. I think they're using weird camping areas that are throwing people off guard, which won't throw people off guard in like a couple weeks. People get more confident with their aim, and the maps, and the layouts, and the spawns, and the flow. The game will play differently. It always has. Every year this happens. And for me personally, I need to learn the maps before I critique them. And I don't feel confident on many of these maps yet. Many of these maps I have no confidence in. So I will wait and save my opinions for a little later when the dust has kind of settled and I've gained some confidence and I notice certain patterns and trends past just my first day of playing the game. My day one opinions very rarely stay 100% consistent with my month later opinions, so again, I don't want to jump the gun too much. I just noticed that the spawns are very sticky. Let me know what you think. I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.